all fueled up, ready to go. Just been to see my mate Ian at the New York Deli in Grimsby. Nice little burger bar, that. Oh yeah, no, you're alright, pal. Just fucking fuck it, innit? Ian rides as well, not sports bikes, he's past all that. Whereas I'm still in my sport bike phase, to be honest. It's like a rite of passage thing. It's like you have to go through certain classes. But you know, I got into riding bikes because I've always liked the look of them, and they're quick as fuck, and I know that. I remember when I was at school, we could personalise like our art folder and shit like that, and I had an R1 on mine, and I had a CBR 600RR on it as well, my two favourite bikes. And funny enough, that was my first bike I had actually. It was a 600RR. Yeah, very good. Shame I didn't keep it, but in all honesty, like I just needed a little bit more out of it, power wise, and as well torque wise, like low down torque, because I love the sound of it. It's a fast bike, but for me personally, I just wanted a bike that was more torquier and had more power, but I didn't want 1,000. Like, you know, I was toying with the idea of getting an R1 or the 600, but I thought, oh, I'll be sensible-ish. Like, I'll get the CBR for my first bike, so started off on a 600, but not the first time that I'd ever ridden a bike. I mean, I've been riding motocross like from the age of like 5 to 17, so I'm very comfortable on bikes, always have been. And when I went and done my test, it was just like yeah, I poodled around the car park for 10 minutes and I was good as new, right back in the swing of things, you know. And I knew the rules of the road. Like, I'd been driving for like 10 years at that point, so I had no worries at all. Passed like flying colours. Obviously got a few minors who, you know, I don't think people pass with like immaculate records, but you know, I made a few mistakes, everyone does, but yeah, so yeah, the reason why I got into bikes actually is because, so I used to be like into my cars. I'm still into cars, I still love them, but unfortunately they got to a price point, like the cars I like got to a price point where they're just unattainable for me. Like, I'm talking like, I love Japanese cars, I love you know, like the Evos, don't like Subarus. I'm biased, you know, that's not my voice, that's my dad's fault. That I basically grew up in an Evo 6, like from the, I think yeah, so I was like 9 years old when my dad bought his Evo 6, and he had it up until I was in my 20s, so I've been brought up with the car, literally. I love that thing, wicked car. But yeah, and so I had an MR2 turbo, 1995 MR2 turbo, fucking wicked car, low mileage, red, it was beautiful, T-bar roof, so you know you can pop the roof off, etc. Wicked. It's about 330 brake horsepower, so plenty fast enough. Great noise, you know. But I had to sell it, and then now, if I wanted to look at getting one, I'm looking at like 20 to 25 grand for one, and I just can't justify that. Like, that's just ridiculous. And then I looked at bikes and I was like, oh well, I could basically get like supercar performance, but for like a couple of grand, literally. So yeah, I was like, we'll just fucking do that. I'll just get a motorbike, I thought. So that's how I ended up getting into bikes. I mean, it was a bit of a debate because I was like, oh, I've got to spend a couple of grand doing my licenses, and then I've got to buy the bike, get the gear, insurance and that. But it's something that I always wanted to do, is have a road bike. Like, I've got all my other licenses, like HGVs and that I've done in the army, and I just never had the opportunity or the time or the money, frankly, like, to do the week's all-inclusive course. So I was at a point in my life where I could afford it, and I had the time, and I had no reason not to. No reason not to at all. So I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, because I'll only regret it if I don't. And at that point in my life, I thought, I'm fucking fed up with regretting things, because it made me feel so shit about certain things, and I sort of changed the way, like, my outlook in a sense of, if I have an inkling that I'm going to regret not doing something, then I'm going to do it. Obviously it depends what it is, but with my bike license, for example, I thought, well, if I don't do it, when am I going to do it? And if I don't do it now, when am I next going to get a chance, when I'm next going to have the money? And I just come to the conclusion, I was like, if I don't do it now, I will fucking regret it. Yeah, it's, you know, you've got to jump through a few hoops, but, you know, bite the bullet, get on with it. The hardest thing for me, honestly, was the fucking theory test, like, because, like I said, I've been driving for like 10 years. I've done all my licenses in the army. So for those people who have not done their licenses in the army, or been in the army, right, the way it works is you have like the theory tests on the computer, and you literally sit in front of it until you fucking pass. Like, that's how it is. So you could fail it 90 times, and then as soon as you pass, you put your hand up, instructor comes over, right, yeah, well done, good lad, print it off. You print it off, and then you go on to your practical. But obviously in civilian life, it doesn't work like that. If you fail it, you got to rebook, go back, So one way that, I mean, I don't know if it worked, or if I just put unnecessary pressure on myself, but I made it difficult for me to get there and to do it. So I was like, I'm not going to drive. I'll take the train, and, you know, I'll walk there, and, you know, stuff like that. So I was like, the train journey was a piss take, it was. But by the time I got to the test centre, I was like, man, if I fail it, I'm not fucking doing it again. So I was like, I've got to pass it. And up until that point, I downloaded one of the paid for apps that you pay a few quid for. Done that, and it had all the hazard perception stuff on there, and I highly recommend those. Like, for me, the way I learn, it was brilliant. It was, I really put down my success in my theory taking was down to that app. It seriously was. Because what I done was, I said to myself, I said, right, I'm gonna book my theory test once. In my mock tests that I'm doing on this app, I keep getting like 100% pass. So I got to the point where literally every test I was taking, and that's why I tested it, I was like, right, I'm starting to get 100% consistently now. Well, not 100%, but like pass consistently. So I was like, right, in 2 weeks time I'm going to book it if my progress is still like this. So I left it 2 weeks, kept doing them, kept passing, and I didn't fail one. So I was like, right, I feel like I'm ready to take this test, because I'm really bad with tests. Like, I hate them because I'm not academic at all. I'm hands-on. So to me, any academic test is shit, because my memory's bad. You know, so it's not the best for me. But with that, the way that I revised and stuff for it, yeah, it was a great learning tool. It really was. But yeah, doing that really helped. So then I done that, and then I thought, right, done. That's the hard part out of the way. Like, the next bit's easy. It's just a week of riding a bike. Like, that's cool. I can do that well easy. And you know, not to sound cocky or anything, but it was easy. The only hard bit was the actual test itself, because I'm an idiot and I'm stupid. Like, I just went for the first available school that had the intensive course that was like a reasonable price at the time, and because it was during lockdown, one of the only schools that were open in my area down in Kent, and I'd never been to that area before, driving around it and nothing. So when I was taking my test, the instructor's going, right, go right here, go left there, da, 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 da. I was like, I have no idea where the fuck I'm going, and that sucks, because you know, if I took it around my local area, I know where people queue up for traffic, I know where, you know, things are, and it would have been so much easier. But I'd done it and I still passed first time. So, you know, that was fucking cool. Really liked that. And then after that week, I was like, right, well, I can just fucking go and get a bike now, can't I? And I did. It was fucking great.